Here we are working on the black art of wood engraving. Ancient as it is, there are still practitioners out there working diligently to produce detailed wood engravings to illustrate rare and unusual books. The steps are quite simple. I actually start off with the drawing. So in this magazine that I've written an article, we have the drawing. Drawing is transferred onto the block, and then I reinforce it with a pencil if I've transferred it using, say, graphite stick on the back of the drawing, and then I'll ink it in, and then I'll either use a router, a power tool, to pull out some of the areas that I don't want to print, and then I'll go into the details with the hand tools. And then it's just a matter of rolling ink over top of the surface, and here you can see I'm pulling an impression with a wooden spoon just by rubbing the wooden spoon over the surface, and then I can pull up the print from there. The tendency is when you first pick up these tools is to either dig too deep into the block or to use dull tools which tear the material as opposed to incising it. So just those types of things are learned responses, and also learning how to hold the tool as well is often a difficult thing for the novice. Tool's held in the palm and it's gripped between the thumb and the forefinger. It's held just like this. Try to keep the hands from doing this because you need to get the tool close to the block. That's why the mushroom-shaped handle is cut off here, so that you get close to the block. The angle is very important in order to incise the lines into the surface. And here you can see an illustration in my book from the 1890s, and it's a pear soap ad. But if you look closely in this area here, you can actually see the tiny dots, and they're created by the lining tool. First going one way, then another. And so the gray values in this image that was originally a photograph have been reinterpreted by the lining tool. So the engraver has looked at the photograph and then looked at the gray values on the block and then interpreted them with the lining tool to create what looks like a photograph, but it isn't. Here's the lining tool. It makes multiple lines into the block. It's hard to see right away. If I carve this into here, and then taking the cracked the talcum powder, and rubbing it into the surface, all of a sudden, the lines appear. And this saves me going to the printing press every few minutes to see what I have.
That's what it was.
Often called the art of the white line. Each tiny dot will not print when carved out of the surface. In order to make a black line, the engraver must do 2 carefully incised white lines on either side. Just to illustrate that concept of white line and black line, this is white line art and this is black line art. Black line art is what you get when you take a pen to paper and you draw an image, right? That's black line. But that isn't what woodcut and wood engraving do easily. What they do is the white line. So if you want black line art in a woodcut, right, you have to carve out everywhere that you see the white has to all be carved out. So you have to do 2 white lines in order to get a black line. Hours, days, weeks, months could go by, and still no engraving to be seen. But finally, after many hours, the engraver holds his block up. Wiping carefully some talc into the surface, he examines it before he's ready to put it on the press and pull the first proof of many. And that's the scary art of wood engraving, the Reader's Digest version.